Hey friends, so this has been a long time coming. I ordered the Retroid Pocket 6 over a month ago and it finally showed up. And I have to be honest, the reason I even wanted this device wasn't about the specs or the performance, it was the color. This light purple just looks so good to me and I knew I had to have it. But here's the thing, by the time it actually arrived, this version is already discontinued. You can still get the 8GB model, but this one is getting harder to find. I wanted to share my first impressions and to see if this was actually worth the wait. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So, the light purple looks even better in person than it did online. I was honestly a little nervous because sometimes colors look completely different in photos, but this one actually exceeded what I was expecting. It has a soft, almost pastel tone that I really like. It doesn't look like every other handheld out there, but for me, that's what really matters. I'm drawn to devices that feel personal, and this one felt personal before I even turn it on. Every time I pick it up, I notice the color. It just makes the whole device feel like it's actually mine and not another generic device, especially with it matching my aesthetic. So the screen is another area that stood out to me right away. Yes, it is OLED. So it's bright, the colors look really nice, and everything feels clear without needing to adjust much. I noticed the screen quality the most during gameplay because that's when you're actually staring at it for long periods of time. And on this device, that experience has been really pleasant. It's one of those things where you're not really thinking about when you're purchasing a handheld, but once you actually are using one every day, screen quality makes a huge difference in whether you enjoy the experience or not. For the initial setup, it's pretty standard. I went through the prompts where I had to set up my language, Wi-Fi, time zone, nothing too complicated. I didn't download any apps that I was prompted to. I like to do that on my own. And after I went through the setup, I downloaded the applications of my choosing. And yeah, I didn't really go too in depth with the settings because I kind of just keep everything the same. If anything needs to be adjusted while I'm gaming, I do so then. So as for the micro SD, I did go with the 512 model due to not wanting to be overwhelmed with having so many games. As you all know, and I've mentioned this previously in my other videos, I don't like to have too many games on my devices. I like to choose games that I know I'm going to play, and then once I've completed or finished the story, I just switch it out for something new. So that's really what my initial setup process looks like. Now for my favorite part. On this device, I use Cocoon FE and I used my unicorn space theme that I built. And if you've seen my other videos, you know I like to keep my front end clean, minimal, and pastel. This is the light model. The background has like a soft lavender that fades into a light blue. And all the tiles that I've created match the aesthetic. As for the text, again, it's purple, so it's easy to read and doesn't feel too harsh on the eyes. The accents are a blend of, lavenders, lilacs, and soft blues, which ties the whole thing together. And as you all know, I did make pastel icons for the AYN Thor, so these are what I'm using. If you guys want the theme as well as the icons, I will leave the link in the description of the video. So let me give you like a little tour of what I did. So like I stated, these are the tiles. And what I've done this time was actually I made heroes. Like you all know, there's not really a lot of pastel themes or heroes or anything like that. So I always like to customize my devices to my liking. This will also be in the description. They're on my website under downloads. But again, I will leave the link. So yeah, I made heroes this time to match my icons. I think they look really good, and I did spend some time doing this. But again, when it comes to actually creating and customizing, I think that's one of like the most fun things when it comes to designing your own aesthetics to your liking. I think that's really nice. So yeah, this looks really good on the Cocoon front end, and I had a really great time creating it. And for me, that's what I really care about. I want my devices to feel personal, not just functional, but something I actually enjoy looking at. All right, let's play some games while I talk about a few more things. So one thing I've been thinking about is how different this device feels compared to some of my other handhelds. Every device has its own personality in a way. Some feel more like tools because you're constantly tweaking and adjusting. And then there's some that just feels ready. And this one feels ready. I also want to mention that I've been testing a mix of games such as PS2, Dreamcast, and some cozy games as well as some fast-paced ones. And across the board, everything has been running well. I haven't had to do a lot of adjusting to get things to feel smooth, which is something I really appreciate. The screen makes a big difference too. When you're playing something with a lot of color or a lot of movement, it shows. Games just look good on this display. For the cozy gamers out there, this is a really nice device that does that. Whether it's a farming sim or something more relaxed, the size, the comfort, and the screen all work well together in a way that makes gaming sessions, especially longer ones, feel easy. I think that's something I keep coming back to when it comes to the RP6, because it's just something you get to pick up and play. And I love the simplicity and the easygoing aspect of it, which makes it enjoyable. After spending some time with the RP6, the things that stand out to me is how cohesive it is. The color, the theme I built, the way games look on screen, it all works together in a way that makes me want to keep picking up this device. I think people underestimate that about handhelds. It's not just about what a device can run, it's about whether you actually enjoy using it. Whether you want to reach for it, and this one I want to reach for. So there's something about a device that looks the way you want it to, the way you need it to, and feels comfortable in the hands. And when all those things come together, that's when a handheld stops being something you bought and something you enjoy using. Overall, my first impressions are really positive. I love the way it looks. I love how Cocoon FE turned out on it, and from what I've played so far, the performance is pretty solid. I'm not calling this a full review because I haven't had it long enough to test everything yet, but as far as first impressions go, it's one of the strongest I've had in handhelds in a while. The wait was a bit frustrating, but holding it now, it was definitely worth the wait. If you liked this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Happy gaming!